So here we go again. Video games are being blamed for violence, even though there have been countless studies throughout since I've been doing this and before that have proven otherwise, or at worst have said there is no direct correlation that they could find between violent video games and real life violent behavior. But who cares about evidence and research, man? It's 2022. We just want to blame whatever we want to blame without evidence. Let's get into the news.
Skip it up and that up.
With a 32-inch 4K Ultra HD resolution, a 98% P3 IPS panel with HDRI, FreeSync Premium Pro, 1 millisecond response time, and 144 Hz refresh rate, built-in 2.1 channel speakers powered by Trevolo Audio, an AI noise-canceling microphone for super clear voice communication, DSP chips to augment depth, clarity, definition, presence, and stereo field imaging, multiple ports that make it compatible with all different kinds of devices, and BenQ proprietary eye care technology for viewing comfort. The BenQ EX3210U is the perfect monitor for your PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, or gaming PC. Click the link in the description to find out more. So I'm not going to name the person's name. I don't want to give them notoriety, but a racist piece of shit, piece of garbage, went to a primarily black area, purposely drove there. 2 hours, okay, and live streamed on Twitch him ending people's lives in a Tops grocery store. He even saw that there was a white person there, apologized to the white person because they're white. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to shoot you. I just want to shoot black people. That's a racist piece of shit. There's no other way around it. It's irrefutable. This is not up for debate. So countless news outlets across the political spectrum, it's not just Fox News, throughout the years have been like, even though there's research that says, like I said in the intro of this video, that at worst, they can't find a correlation between video games and violence at all. Maybe it's video games. Yeah, we've done another university has done a decade-long study that says that they can't find any correlation. Maybe it's video games, though. We don't want to blame anything else. We don't want to actually have people discuss what the fundamental problem is. So let's blame something that has no evidence backing it. And this time it's Fox News. Yay! So Fox News anchor John Scott was interviewing Bernard Zapor, who was a former special agent for the firearms division of the Department of Justice, and he's a current college instructor in criminal justice. And here is a clip from the interview, and here we go again. I feel like the narrative is not going to stop until video games are censored because you have special interests and news organizations that don't want to see the bigger issue with mass shootings discussed. Anyway, take a look, and then we'll discuss.
I wonder, it seems like these things have gotten so much worse since video games became so realistic and so violent. Have you done research or, learned that video games tend to just desensitize people to the actual results of pulling a trigger?
I love how the Fox News anchor, John Scott, poses the question. Well, it's more like he's answering the question because he wants to put the narrative out there. So, yeah, video games are violent. Do you think that violent video games, because they're violent, obviously it's the violence in video games that are causing this violence, right? That's not a question. You're saying you're turning the narrative into a certain direction where you're cornering the person to kind of indirectly agree with you no matter what, even if they don't. And Bernard Zapor, that was interesting too. He didn't come out and say, yes, I believe it is video games. It was like a weird, as we become more detached and faith and all this, it was just a weird, bizarre, nonsensical. It's like, what can we place the blame on and not look at what the real issue is? I don't want to go into what the real issue is here. I'm not even sure what the hell it is, okay? And if you want to hear more of my hot political takes, go to my live stream channel, which is RTU Streams. There's my shameless plug, link below in the description. But no matter what your view on gun control is, I don't even want to go there. We can all agree that for years upon years, with articles and evidence and research from universities, that they have done studies that, like I said, they're like, we can't say there's any direct correlation between violence in video games and people having violent behavior. This article is more recent. I usually go to my older sites that I source, but let me go to a newer one so people can't say, oh, Rich, that's an old dated research study that was done. This one's from 2020. This information comes from theguardian.com. Again, another study was done on how video games, they cannot see a correlation between violent video games and violent behavior. I'll read it to you, then we'll discuss. The researchers, led by Aaron Drummond from New Zealand's Massey University, re-examined 28 studies from previous years that looked at the link between aggressive behavior and video gaming, a method known as meta-analysis. The new report, published in the Journal of Royal Society Open Science on Wednesday, found that, when bundled together, the studies showed a statistically significant but minuscule positive correlation between gaming and aggression, below the threshold required to count as even a small effect. Thus, current research is unable to support the hypothesis that violent video games have a meaningful, long-term predictive impact on youth aggression, the report said. And here is something even more interesting that I read. One common argument for a negative effect on gaming is that small harms can accumulate over time. If a player ends every game slightly more aggressive, then, over the long term, that might add up to a meaningful change in temperament. But the study finds no evidence for such an accumulation, and in fact finds evidence pointing in the opposite direction. Studies consistently find that, and I quote here, long-term impacts of violent games on youth aggression are near zero. I did another video a very long time ago, can't find the article. It had thousands upon thousands of children participants that they studied for a decade. I'm paraphrasing some of it. I wish I had the article in front of me. I tried to look for it and I couldn't find it. And guess what? Found absolutely no correlation between violent video games and violent behavior. There was no effect. Those are just a couple studies. There was another study, I believe it was from a university in California, where they studied violent video games. There's another article I couldn't find. When I do find it, I'll actually try to find them sometime today and link them in the description if I can. The researchers said, saying that violent video games cause people to be violent is like saying that people wearing socks, or if there is a perpetrator that wore socks, that it was the socks that caused them to be violent. Meaning that everybody wears socks. There's no correlation. They're just socks. But still, we're having this conversation because you have people, political pundits and news anchors and news organizations that don't want to talk about what the real problem is. And I don't even want to bring up the real problem here. The point of this video is that the research has been done time and time again that, at least as of now, there is no correlation that all of these thorough studies can make between violent video games and these mass shootings. But every time it happens, because, oh, there's guns in a game, someone used a gun, it has to be the video games. Because it allows these idiots to deflect what the real issue is at hand, even with the research backing up that video games do not cause these incidents to happen. This is Rich of Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.